What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be doing a one brand makeup tutorial. I guess you can call it that. So I need to get ready for the day, and I really wanted to do a full face of Milani. So I only have 3 products that are not from Milani that I do not have from that brand. So I'm going to be using the CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara. I did have a mascara from Milani, but the one that I had, I didn't really like. I liked how my lashes looked, but it just flaked a lot. And then to set my face, I'm going to use my Pretty Vulgar setting powder because I couldn't find the setting powder from Milani anywhere in stores. I think maybe you can only get it online. And then to set my brows, I'm going to be using the NYX Brow Glue. I'm going to be using the Milani SPF BFF primer. So this does have 30 SPF 30 in it. And yeah, so we are going to be using this as primer today. I'm only going to be using a little bit because my skincare still feels kind of like tacky and fresh. And I did put my normal sunscreen on as well. So we are just going to put on just a little bit. I don't have all my lights set up today, so hopefully the lighting isn't terrible. I just have so much to do today that I was trying to cut corners, but hopefully it doesn't affect the quality of the video. I know I usually have my background more like brighter, so that's bothering me. So definitely going to make sure that that's up next time, but keep bumping my mic. For foundation, I do have 2 foundations from Milani. I have the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. Mine is in the shade Medium Beige 04. If you want something more fuller coverage or something that might last a little bit longer, I would go for this. But if you want something maybe a little bit lighter coverage and not so heavy on the skin, this is a nice one as well. This is their Conceal and Perfect Smooth Finish Cream to Powder Foundation. Mine is in the shade Light Beige 230. So this is the one that I'm going to use today. But like I said, if you want something a little bit more full of coverage, this one is a nice one as well. I did get mine a shade lighter than what I normally would have picked, and it ends up being my perfect shade. I did hear that this oxidizes a lot. I haven't had an issue with it getting too dark on me, but again, I did pick a shade a little bit lighter than what I would have just for that reason. So when I use this foundation, I just like to use this is a BBCC cream brush from Real Techniques, but I like to use any type of foundation buffing brush. And I just kind of pounce it, just like to pounce it in. And then what I'll do is just start adding it on. And this is definitely more lighter coverage, and it feels super lightweight on the skin. I believe Juicy Jazz here on YouTube was saying that this foundation is almost a dupe for the KVD foundation, their Balm foundation that they just came out with. I don't buy high-end products too often, so I wouldn't know. But before even that foundation came out, I think I tested this foundation out and I really like it. And I think it's super quick to put on too. So to conceal, I'm just going to first use the Milani Supercharged Brightening Under Eye Tint. This one is in the shade 120 Peach. And I'm just going to use a tiny little bit, put a little bit on my finger. And then I'm just going to put a little bit under my eye. So if you think you need a little bit more help, you can always add this into your routine. I use this a lot on its own for those days where I'm doing quick makeup. I need to go get my daughter because she's getting into things that she should not be touching. So yeah, I use this a lot on its own on those days where I'm just in a rush and I'm using a tinted moisturizer or whatever. And I don't want to put on a concealer that looks too much. I will just use that. So I really love this product on its own, but again, you can also use it with a concealer as like a corrector. Then to conceal, this is one of my favorite drugstore concealers. It's from Milani, of course, and it's the Conceal and Perfect Longwear Concealer. This one's in the shade 125 Light Natural. I think I can get away with getting something a little bit darker, but we're not gonna add too much because we don't need to, but I 100% love this concealer, like love. And I'm just gonna do that, and I'm gonna kind of just let it get a little tacky around my eyes, just that way we get the most coverage. And then I'm just gonna blend out a while the concealer everywhere else. And I'm just gonna use my makeup brush. I always like to use my makeup brush on my forehead. I hate blending out concealer on my forehead with a sponge. I don't know why. And then I'm just gonna use my e.l.f. Camo Concealer sponge to blend out the rest. See how it looks really light under the eye, because I can use a shade darker probably. All right, so next what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to apply some powder on my under eye and just a little bit around, because this foundation, even though it's supposed to be cream to powder, I feel like it either takes a really long time for it to turn to powder or it just doesn't set all the way. This is like the main part that I like to set around because of the mask. So it's like to make sure nothing is going anywhere. Milani does have really good cream blushes. I do have one of them, but I'm just going to use powder blush today. But first, I don't even know why I went right into blush. First, I'm actually going to use the bronzer. So this one is in 09 Dose Baked Bronzer. So this is the one that I'm going to use right now. I'm just going to use a Essence bronzing brush. And this one, like you can see, adds a nice natural bronze. It's nothing, these bronzers, I feel like you can't get too you can't get too heavy-handed with it. They're more like buildable bronzers. And I'm just gonna do the top of my forehead. And then I'm just going to take it along my jawline, but nothing too like precise. And then just kind of put it over my nose. Again, nothing too precise, but just to kind of make everything look like it goes together. Then for highlight, I'm going to use the cream highlight in the highlighter duo. This is in 130 Spark Plug. I'm going to use the cream highlight first. And this does great on top of powder. And it's so blinding already on its own. You can like see. The powder highlighter in this is a little bit too dark for me. It would be more of a summer highlighter. So for powder highlighter, I'm going to use Champagne d'Oro. This is in the shade 120, and this is their baked highlighters. So I'm going to use that. Just going to put it right over top. You can see it's like very blinding. Then for blush, I'm going to use the Milani Berry Amore baked blush in the shade 03. That's what it looks like. It's so pretty. I'm just gonna put that right there. And this blush gives you like a pretty glow as well. But I like to put it after the highlighter because then it kind of blends everything together. And I like to put it across my nose. Make me look like I was in the sun for a bit. Then I'm just gonna very quickly set my face. I'm gonna use the Milani Make It Last Sunscreen Setting Spray. This has SPF 30 in it. Now, I'm not gonna lie. Whew, you can really feel it, like it just grabs a hold of your makeup. It's not going anywhere. It smells, when I first sprayed it, I'm like, this smells very weird. It smells strange. I don't like the smell of it. And I was like, what does it smell like? It smells like celery, like straight up celery, like celery juice, celery sticks. It smells like celery. So if that's a smell that's going to bother you, then I wouldn't get the one with sunscreen. I'm going to use it up. I don't know if I would buy it again, but it is nice for the summertime to just spray it on my face on top of my makeup when you need to touch up, because for sunscreen, you're supposed to apply it like, you know, every so often throughout the day. Like you can't just apply it once and be out in the sun all day and expect it to do its job. So if you apply makeup, like you can't apply sunscreen on top of your makeup anymore, like you're done. So it's nice to have something like this where you can just quick spray it and touch up your face with sunscreen. So is it worth the smell? I don't know why it even needs to have a smell. If it's not something they added and it's just, you know, the chemical reaction or whatever of applying all the ingredients, then is it worth it to protect your face? Maybe, I don't know. So next, I'm gonna very quickly do brows. I'm gonna use the Milani, this is the Precision Brow in the shade 140 Medium Brown. And you get your little spoolie on one end, and then you get your tiny little pencil on the other end. Okay, so the brows are on. And I really do like this pencil because it's not over pigmented and it's not too waxy either. It's really nice. So very quickly to set my brows, I'm just going to use the NYX Brow Glue. So we are almost done. We just have to do eyes and lips. So for eyes, I'm going to use the Milani, and this is the all-inclusive eye, cheek, and face palette. And yeah, so you do get a blush, you get a shimmer blush and a matte you get a shimmer blush and a matte blush, you get a bronzer, you get a highlighter, and then you get 3 eyeshadows. You get a matte, 2 mattes, and a shimmer. So you do get a nice mirror as well, and then you get your face palette. So I did review this palette already, and it is a nice palette, but it's something like the colors in here, it's something I would use in the summer when I'm a little bit more darker. The highlighter I think was a little bit too dark for me at the time when I used it, and the bronzer is definitely more of like a summertime bronzer. So I'm just going to use the shadows in this palette for today. So I'm just going to very quickly just go into the shadow right here and just kind of go into my crease. I don't think I'm going to use the shimmer today. I'm just going to use the 2 matte colors and just do something pretty simple. I usually try to film in the mornings, like early in the mornings, while my daughter is still sleeping, but she's kind of been waking up a lot, like in the early mornings. Not waking up, but if I'm not there to like pat her back to sleep or just show her that I'm there, she will wake up and then just start crying. As well as I'm just not like a morning person, so when my alarm goes off at like 5-6 o'clock in the morning to film, I'm just like I want to go back to bed. So I end up filming later in the day when my daughter's already awake, and then we hear nice beautiful sounds in the background. So I'm just going to use this top shade right here and just kind of make it a little bit more pink. And again, I'm just kind of keeping these colors like in the crease. And then just softly doing a wash over the lid. Then I'm just gonna take this bottom shade and we're gonna go right underneath the lash line. So next is mascara. So I'm gonna apply mascara to my bottom lashes first. So while the bottom lashes are drying, I'm gonna go ahead and do my lips. So for lip liner, I'm gonna use the Color Statement Lip Liner True Instant Color. And this one is in the shade 04 All Natural or All Natural. And these are super creamy and literally just glide right on. So now that I lined my lips, I'm gonna go in with a lipstick. This one is in the shade 55 Bahama Beige. This one is their Color Statement lipstick in number 55. They smell so good. And then just for the final touch, we're gonna go ahead and apply mascara to the top. All right, so this is the final look, full face, basically of Milani. I know, like I said, there was a couple things that I didn't have, but I mean, for the most part, this is Milani. And honestly, guys, I love Milani. They are one of my favorite drugstore brands at the drugstore. Milani, e.l.f., Wet n Wild. I think those are really like my top 3. I just love their products so much. The only products that I intentionally went out to buy for a full, like to contribute towards the full face are these 2 products here, the setting spray and the primer. Everything else I already had in my collection, so it shows just how much I love Milani. And I think that for a drugstore, they really make their packaging just so beautiful, and it just makes you feel like it just honestly makes you feel like you are buying high-end makeup. Like their lipsticks are luxurious. Everything is just so freaking beautiful. They just do things very, very well. They're not Wet n Wild or e.l.f. pricing. They can be a little bit more, but they're still very affordable, and you can still find them at most drugstores. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until next time, bye.